In your oral and your written exam, you'll often be asked to do or to write a dialogue. Now, let's have a closer look at what is expected of you. Firstly, you must understand that any dialogue will always have a purpose, and that will probably come from the instruction that you are given. It could be to share ideas, that's possible. Two people sharing ideas about a certain topic. It could be to discuss a conflict. They might say that you and your mother had a falling out about what you want to do next year or about your career, and you're now sitting down and talking about it. You're discussing a conflict. You're trying to perhaps solve a certain problem with a parent or with a certain peer member. You might want to influence another person to buy something or to buy an idea, if you like. Perhaps it's merely to entertain. If the topic is such that it's supposed to be funny, then it's merely to entertain. It can be to inform. The one person informs the other person about something, and then the other person responds. So it could be to scold. Somebody could be angry and telling you off about something. Can be a teacher, a parent. It could be to get to know each other. Two people meet somewhere by accident and they start talking and they start getting to know each other better. So there are really quite a few possibilities in terms of the purpose that a dialogue might have. So make very sure that you look at the instruction so as to know what you're working towards, be it written or be it for an oral presentation, because you're going to have to write this dialogue down first, right? And you will be working with another partner. The task will obviously be for two people conversing, so there will be two people involved, and you will be allotted somebody to work with you. You will be given a certain situation, and you must prepare in pairs, right? Two of you, and you will be assessed together, but also individually. If you understand what I mean, your contribution will be assessed individually and so forth. But you should work together to make this dialogue work. And for a dialogue, you will be given 6 to 8 minutes. Very important is that you must also decide what the tone will be that you will be adopting as a character, and what the tone will be that the other person will be adopting. If somebody is scolding you, then the one person might have an angry tone and the other one an apologetic tone. Are you with me? So you're going to have to bring that out in your voice, in your tone of voice. It's not the same as in writing. We will say, he says angrily or something like that. You're going to have to sound angry, or you're going to have to sound apologetic, for instance. And you're going to match your tone with body language. If you're explaining, use your hands. If you are perplexed about something, show it in your face, in your expression, for instance. You're going to have to match your tone with your facial expression and your body language in general. There are various tones. There are millions of tone words that we can mention, but let's look at a few. Will you speak politely? And how would that sound? Do you think these two are flirtatious? You look cute today. Thanks. Is it flirtatious? Perhaps. Light-hearted, also, yes. Think of light-hearted. It's not serious. And if you're despondent, you really at the end of your tether, perhaps not in terms of how you feel, whether you're angry or something, but it's you are at the end of what you can think of. You are despondent, you have no more resources, you are not very excited, you are not happy, you are speaking in a despondent way, you're out of ideas. It would be sad, it could be angry, it could be sarcastic, it could be apologetic, and you can go on and on and on and on. And all of these will be evident in how you say what you say. Very important. You can't hear the tone here, but you can imagine what the tone would be. Look here, for instance, somebody is getting a ticket. How will this person be speaking? Polite, formal, professionally? And this person, she's explaining. Look at her arms. She's apologetic. She says, please, please, perhaps asking for some kind of favor from the person, saying that I will never do that again or something like that. So, how will these people be speaking? Every situation is different, right? Remember that people say just as much with their expressions and their body language as they do with their mouths. Very important. Your posture, that's apart from your tone. Tone, of course, is very important, but your posture, your eye contact, your mannerisms, and the reactions should all play a prominent role in conversations. So think about that when you do your dialogue in class for marks. Make sure that you do use your arms. Don't sit there like a statue and just say the words, because it'll be very hard to have the tone if you don't have, the facial expression or the gestures, the body language to go with it. So use it. Make sure that you do, because it all adds up to your final performance. Be prepared to ask your partner for his or her opinion. So when you prepare your questions, make sure that you also you give your opinion and then ask your partner for his or her opinion, rather than simply just stating your own. So if you say, this is a wonderful day, and what do you think? Or this is such and such. This is a statement of your own. It's how you feel. What do you think? How about you? So what happens now is that the person can answer you. So you have this flow in your dialogue. So listen very carefully to what the partner says, and respond to the comments that he or she makes to help the discussion flow. The discussion must flow. For instance, if you ask the other person, don't you sometimes feel this way or that way? Haven't you ever felt this way or that way? Aren't you sometimes angry at this or that? Do you think so? Really? Can you see how you're asking? You're literally asking the other person to respond to the statement or the opinion that you've given, or something that you've already said. And if you disagree with another person while you're doing the dialogue, make sure that you know how to say it. For instance, I see what you mean, but there's another side to the story. I follow your point, but don't you think so and so? So make sure that you have these little expressions, these stock expressions, to help you through the dialogue as you are doing it. And tips for working in pairs. As I said a minute ago, also have certain stock expressions handy, things that you can throw in between so that you can just gather yourself before you carry on with the conversation. For instance, that's a good question. And then you go on and you give an answer. Or, well, let me think. Perhaps so and so and so, and then the conversation flows again. It's difficult to say, but, and then you go on and on. So it just helps you through the conversation. And if you don't quite understand a word or a phrase, let's say this is an impromptu conversation that you are asked to have, and the person uses a word or a phrase that you've never heard before, don't be ashamed about that. Say so. So if you don't quite understand a word or a phrase, use these expressions, such as, sorry, but could you explain what you mean by that concept? I haven't come across that expression before. Could you explain what you mean? So just make sure that the person can then respond and give you some more information about what he or she actually meant. Um, Always make sure that when you plan your dialogue with your friend at school or with your peer, don't make it boring. This one says this and this one says that, and it all goes on like that. Make sure that there's a bit of conflict somewhere. It just makes for an interesting conversation. If you have a bit of conflict or disagreement, and that helps to keep the dialogue interesting. And also make sure that when you choose your characters, that they be different types. That some might be, the bubbly type, enthusiastic, optimistic, and others perhaps sarcastic or pessimistic, etc. Have different types in your conversations. That also makes for an interesting dialogue. And make sure that you don't just say everything or just repeat everything that's already been said. Say something fresh or something new, and don't get into a dump and then stick to that same point and sort of then the conversation doesn't go further. So make sure that you say something new. And once again, you can use some of those expressions to draw the other person in again. Pauses are very important because just as important as tone, which tells me how the person feels, also the pause can suggest certain things like hesitation or trailing off, right? So make sure that you make use of those things, because now it's an oral thing and it must come across. And also let the character's words and the choice of words that you use suggest age. You don't have to say, oh, I'm 18 years old now. Make it sound as though that person is 18 years old. And if it's a grandmother, don't make her sound as though she's 18 years old. She's not. Let her choice of words suggest her age. And then you don't have to go and state the age, for instance. Not necessary. So make these characters alive. Let them get alive. Let them be people that have an age, that have emotions, and that sometimes hesitate and sometimes, trail off or something like that. Make sure that it comes out in the words, in the way in which things are said. So that suggest rather than say, and then of course the gesture, the body language cannot be overestimated. I'm going to give you one or two exercises in terms of what you can expect in a classroom. The teacher might give you a research project and say, go and do research on the lives and the times of certain poets. They may be contemporaries, they may be from different ages or different movements. They may have similar themes, they may have opposing themes on, for instance, religion and so forth. Now, if you are working in pairs, you can be the two deceased poets, of course, and then you are going to meet each other and you're going to have a conversation. And of course, that's going to take a lot of preparation. So that can make for a very interesting dialogue where you actually become that poet and you speak from your perspective and have a dialogue with another poet who speaks from his or her perspective. Another exercise that is one that you can expect, for instance, where you can have to create a dialogue between two learners from different schools, for instance, waiting outside a room to be externally moderated. You are from different schools, and so you don't know each other, but you are chatting about what to expect in the room. An easy one. And that can easily be figured out as to how you're going to do it. Or a dialogue between two learners who've been called in to see the principal after witnessing an incident or even an accident on the school premises. And they are chatting outside the office, sort of just saying like what they saw or what they think the headmaster is going to ask, etc. This kind of exercise is more casual and more impromptu. But some of these will, like the previous one that I mentioned to you, you will have to do a lot of research for. But it's very important that the characters are the characters. Okay? So you make them come alive. That's it.